What if I told you one player could walk into a clubhouse mid-season and flip the script on an entire city? Sabathia did it in Milwaukee. Manny Ramirez turned Dodger Stadium into Mannywood. Yoenis Céspedes saved a dead Mets offense. And Randy Johnson, he made Houston feel like it had the most feared pitcher on the planet. Baseball is a team sport, sure, but every so often one superstar shows up and the air changes. The clubhouse feels different. The fans walk taller. The season suddenly feels like destiny. Tonight, we're reliving the players who didn't just help their teams, they transformed them almost overnight.
On the ground, a chance here. Durham to Hardy to first. Yes! The Brewers win! Yes! Sabathia, a complete game.
Milwaukee had been starving for October baseball, 26 years without a postseason appearance. The closest thing fans had to a playoff memory was Harvey's Wallbangers back in 1982. By the summer of 2008, the Brewers were good but fragile. Prince Fielder was crushing baseballs, Ryan Braun was emerging as a star, but everyone knew the lineup wasn't the issue. The pitching staff needed an anchor. On July 7th, the front office pushed all its chips in and traded for the reigning American League Cy Young winner, Sabathia. It was a bold move for a small market club, and the moment he arrived, it felt different.
Sabathia down the right field line, and it's gone! How about that?
Sabathia didn't just pitch well, he dominated. Over 17 starts with Milwaukee, he went 11-2 with a 1.65 ERA, throwing 7 complete games and 3 shutouts. Think about that. In an era where complete games were vanishing, Sabathia was racking them up like it was 1975. He even led the entire National League in complete games, despite joining in July. He pitched like a man on a mission. On August 31st in Pittsburgh, he carried a no-hitter into the 5th inning. The only hit was a dribbler that many still argue should have been ruled an error. Brewers fans will tell you to this day it was robbed from him.
On the corner, a called strike 3. Sabathia only getting stronger here.
But it wasn't just dominance. It was relentlessness. Down the stretch, Sabathia started on 3 days rest in each of his final 3 starts. Who does that in modern baseball? He wanted the ball, and nobody dared tell him no. And then came game 162. Brewers tied with the Mets for the wild card. Cubs in town, season on the line. CC takes the mound, throws a complete game, and Ryan Braun delivers the clutch homer. When the final out settled, Milwaukee erupted. After 26 long years, the Brewers were back in October.
On the ground, a chance here. Durham to Hardy to first. In time! Yes! The Brewers win! Yes! Sabathia!
Sabathia was only there 3 months, but his run became legend. In Milwaukee, it still feels like one man carried an entire franchise on his back and dragged them to the postseason. The Dodgers weren't dead in 2008, but they weren't alive either. By the end of July, they were hovering right around .500, stuck in that dreaded middle ground. Too good to quit, not good enough to scare anyone. They needed a spark, something or someone that could change the mood of the entire franchise. Then the trade deadline hit. July 31st, a 3-team blockbuster. Manny Ramirez leaves Boston, Jason Bay heads to the Red Sox, and suddenly, Dodger Stadium has a new leading man. The timing was perfect. The city was restless, the team was stale, and Manny's arrival felt like casting a star in a role written just for him. From his very first swing, the show began.
Comes to the plate, fastball is lifted to left center and deep. Back goes Young, way back, Manny's being Manny. And the Dodgers lead.
In only 53 games as a Dodger, Manny hit .396 with 17 home runs and 53 RBI, posting a jaw-dropping 1.212 OPS. That's video game stuff. Before Manny, the Dodgers were 54-55. After Manny, 30-23. Same roster, new script. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was the vibe. The team and the fans built a whole movement around him. The left field pavilion literally became Mannywood, complete with branded seats and fans rocking fake dreadlocks in the stands. Dodger Stadium, which had felt like a relic of better days, suddenly turned into a party. It was no longer just baseball. It was an event.
Fly ball hit to left center field, deep, way back, and this one is well up into the bleachers. A home run from
The Dodgers rode that surge to an 84-78 record, good enough to take the National League West. In the postseason, they swept the heavily favored Cubs in the NLDS, with Manny hitting .500. In the NLCS against Philadelphia, he hit .533 and was practically the only reason the series felt competitive. It was the Dodgers' first playoff series win since 1988, and the city responded like they'd been waiting 2 decades for it. Chavez Ravine shook again. It felt alive. Sure, the PED fallout would come later, but none of that erases the mania of late 2008. For a couple of electric months, Manny Ramirez didn't just play for the Dodgers. He transformed them into Hollywood's hottest ticket and reminded LA what baseball could feel like when it had a star worth watching every single night.
Ramirez goes to right field. Back it goes. Back. This is gone. Manny hits this.
By late July 2015, the Mets had one of the nastiest pitching staffs baseball had seen in years. Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, Noah Syndergaard, every night was an ace on the mound. But the problem? Their offense was historically bad. They ranked last in runs scored, last in batting average, and most nights the pitchers had to be perfect just to give them a chance. Enter July 31st, trade deadline. The Mets swing a deal with Detroit and land Yoenis Céspedes for Michael Fulmer and Luis Cessa. At first, some fans wondered if it would be enough, but from his first series in a Mets uniform, it was obvious. This wasn't just a bat, it was a savior.
Céspedes hits one high and deep to left field. Dirk's looking up and it is gone. A 2-run blast for Yoenis.
From August 1st through mid-September, Céspedes went on a tear for the ages. He hit 17 home runs, drove in 42 runs, and slugged .600 plus over 6 weeks. That wasn't just hot, it was historic. Only Hank Sauer and a handful others had joined a team mid-season and matched that level of production. But the defining moment came on August 21st at Coors Field. Céspedes hit 3 homers and drove in 7 runs. It was the night the Mets' season turned from possibility to inevitability. Fans and players alike looked around and realized Queens finally had a hitter who scared opposing pitchers.
Céspedes hits one out to center field. Blackman ranging back to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here!
Yoenis' impact went beyond box scores. The energy in Citi Field flipped overnight. Wilmer Flores crying after nearly being traded, then hitting walk-offs. David Wright returning from injury. Michael Conforto breaking through. And in the middle of it all, Céspedes turned every at-bat into appointment television. The Mets went 37-22 after the trade, including a franchise-best 20-8 in August, setting a new club record for home runs in a single month. By October, they weren't just competitive, they were NL East champions, charging to their first World Series since 2000.
Céspedes drills one down the line. That'll go to the corner. Flores is in. Uribe right behind him. Here comes Granderson. The relay throw to the plate. Not in time.
In just 2 months, Yoenis Céspedes became a legend in Queens. 19 homers, 49 RBI combined regular and postseason, and a city that finally believed again. For Mets fans, it felt like he had saved the entire franchise, almost single-handedly. The Houston Astros were already good in 1998. They had Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell powering the lineup, Moises Alou in left, and a division lead in late July. But everyone knew October was their curse. The Astros had a history of fading when it mattered most. What they didn't have was a stopper, an ace who could walk to the mound and make an entire stadium believe the game was already over. On July 31st, 1998, minutes before the deadline, Houston pulled the trigger. They sent Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, and John Halama to Seattle and got back one of the most intimidating pitchers the sport had ever seen, Randy Johnson, the big unit. 6'10" left-handed thunder arriving in Texas with one mission: turn a contender into a juggernaut. From the moment he debuted on August 2nd in Pittsburgh, it was different. Johnson struck out 12 over 7 innings, and the Astros won. That wasn't a fluke. It was the beginning of one of the greatest 2-month runs in deadline history.
Baseball, got him looking. The big unit makes a big
In 11 starts with Houston, Johnson went 10-1 with a 1.28 ERA, piling up 116 strikeouts in just 84.1 innings. He threw 4 shutouts, 4 in 2 months. Every 5th day became a show. Fans circled his starts on the calendar. When he pitched at the Astrodome, 40,000 plus showed up just to watch hitters look helpless. One night against the Pirates, Johnson struck out 16 in a complete game shutout. You could feel the ground shake with every K.
He struck him out at 15. This isn't fair.
The Astros rode his dominance to a franchise record 102 wins, cruising to the NL Central title. October didn't end the way they hoped. Kevin Brown and the Padres silenced their bats in the NLDS. But for those 2 months, Houston felt like it had the baddest man on the planet on its side. And in a way, that run reshaped Johnson's career. He'd take that National League dominance and carry it to Arizona, where he became a World Series MVP in 2001. But it started in Houston, in those 11 unforgettable starts when Randy Johnson made the Astros feel untouchable. And there you have it, 4 players, 4 cities, 4 moments where baseball reminded us that one superstar can tilt the entire balance of a season. Baseball is a team game, we all know that. But every so often, a single player steps in and changes the air. The clubhouse feels different. The city walks taller. The fans believe in something again. And suddenly, a season that looked ordinary feels like destiny, because sometimes all it takes is one man to carry a franchise on his back. And when it happens, you never forget it. And if you love stories like these, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because baseball history is full of moments that changed everything overnight, and we'll be reliving them all right here.